This week, we're celebrating 25 years of one of my favorite Dreamcast games of all time. This little guy right here, Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. So stay tuned as we dive deep into the waters, the mysterious ocean of Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, right here on the SEGA Lounge. Hello and welcome to the SEGA Lounge. This is the podcast that's all about Sega in all its forms, the music, the community, the games, everything in between. I'm your host, KC, aka David, and this week we have a very special episode because we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of a game that it's very special for me. We've been celebrating a lot of anniversaries, a lot of like milestone anniversaries recently this season on the show. But this one's a special one because it's part of a series that I'm a big fan of. And when I thought of who can join me for this, first of all, I have to be honest, not many people were willing to come on the show for this. But gladly, we have a very cool community that we all know and love called Caverns of Hope. And so I reached out to Gordon Frenchman, aka Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hi, hello.
Hello, welcome. So, admin over at Caverns of Hope. And so, for people listening or watching to this episode, you probably remember Caverns of Hope from other interactions with the SEGA Lounge. If you're a Radio Sega fan, you probably remember Caverns of Hope coming on the show or on like things like Winterfest in the past. Shout out to Clayman, a good friend.
Yeah. Hi, Clement.
Yeah, past admin of Caverns of Hope. And so, Ben, you were the right choice for this because you are the head honcho, the person in charge of an Ecco the Dolphin community. Before we get into what we're celebrating today, because I haven't told the people what it is yet, but before that, a little bit about yourself and Caverns of Hope. So, are you a big Ecco fan?
No, not really. I'm just here as a tourist.
Okay.
No. Okay, seriously, no. So, Gordon Frenchman, Ben. I'm from France, as my accent probably explained. I have been part of the eco community since I've been having internet. So one of the first thing I was looking for when I finally went on the internet was to look for Ecco the Dolphin fan site. So there were many back then. We had Darksea, we had Atlantis.net, the Under Caves, and I think the Caverns of Hope website was already there. The old Caverns of Hope website, which was a very big treasure trove of Ecco's elements, screenshots, music, etc., etc. At the time, Caverns of Hope was owned by Clayman, which once again, I greet. Hopefully he will be watching all podcasts. At some point, Clayman decided to retire for personal reason, of course. And since we became good friends, him and me, I offered to take over the Caverns of Hope website and keep it going. We had to remove the website because the website was hosted on a German hosting server. And laws were passed at the time, which were actually actively fighting unauthorized content. So Clayman was afraid that the website would be nuked by a DMCA, you see.
Yep.
So I decided to tell Clayman, listen, I will take over the Caverns of Hope. We will just shut down the website. And the first thing I did was to create the Discord server, which is actually running, and which actually hosts many, if not all, the files from Caverns of Hope, freely accessible to any people who join the server and become an active member. So we are actually more than 500 members right now. There's been a steady pace lately, but yeah, Ecco the Dolphin has been missing for quite some time, unfortunately, but he's back.
Yes.
Yeah, and we are looking for even more activity and very excited about the upcoming games coming.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. And so, Ben, we're here together to celebrate 25 years of probably, I don't know if this is what you feel as well about this, but probably the lesser known of the Echo games, maybe of like the mainline Echo games. I don't know, the least popular perhaps between the Mega Drive ones and this. I don't know. What do you think?
It's interesting because the Defender of the Future episode created some kind of a little rift within the fandom, a bit like when Disney, bought Star Wars, and you have the ones who love the Legends part, and those who love the canon part. Except we are not actually fighting each other to know what's a really called the dolphin, and which one is not. So yeah, that's something which came to my mind lately, and laser known, I don't know if it's laser known. It's definitely a different take. While being faithful to the original, I would say it's an Echo of the Dolphin for newer generation. Yeah, Dreamcast and then later PlayStation 2. It's known, but yeah, usually when you talk about Take of a Dolphin, you usually talk about the original games on the Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Game Gear, Echo One, and then Tidus of Time from N. Annunziata and his team. So I think they are both pretty much equally known. It's just, I mean, it's a matter of preference between the people who prefer to play the original games with the asteroid, with Vortexians, and on the other side, those who prefer to travel through many realities to fight the foe.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I have I when I try to ask other people to join us, I felt like not many people, at least the ones that I know, have played this one. That's why I had this understanding that it wasn't really as well known as the Mega Drive games. But yeah, it's definitely different. So we'll get into that. We're celebrating. So I don't think I've said this yet. We're celebrating 25 years of Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. On
25 years.
Dreamcast. 25 years. We're old. Yeah, we're old. We're
Yeah,
very old.
we are not old. We are more we have more levels. We have more levels. We gain experience, and we are more higher level.
We're
It's all
vintage.
media.
We're vintage. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're retro. So,
The retro is good.
yeah, retro is good. So we're celebrating Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. I personally am a big fan of this game, but as you already said, this is a different take on the Echo. Like franchise, on the Echo series, on the Echo story, even, right? So obviously, if you're familiar with the series of like games that were developed by Ed Annunziata in the 90s, you know that Echo is a time traveling dolphin that fights aliens. That's basically it, in a very minimalistic way. But this one, the Defender of the Future game, is a little bit like that as well. So you have the time traveling element. It's like more of a different, like, reality traveling this time as well, not just time traveling. And there's another alien threat. So it's a little bit faithful, but also, like you said, it branches out in a different direction. So it could be a matter of preference. Ed Annunziata was not part of the development team for this one. However, it's a game that was developed by the same company, right? The company that created Echo, Novo Trade, and then known as
Appaloosa Software.
Appaloosa
Appaloosa
Interactive. So it shared some of the DNA, but not really. There was no Ed Annunziata, which was probably a big part of what made Echo back in the day, right? I don't know if when you played it, and that's something that we can skip a little bit to that part already. When you played the game for the first time, were you aware that Ed Annunziata was not part of the team? Were you like into that sort of like details? Did you have that information back then? Because I didn't.
I didn't too because I was born in 1983. So I
84.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, 1 year. So when Echo was released, Death of the Future, of course, it was in 2K. So I was like 17, probably something like this, or going on my 17 years. Um, the things were different because we didn't have the mean to have the information we have today. In France, for example, the internet was barely starting to kick off, and the website was fan site was actually slowly starting to kick off. So I was playing the game as an echo game, not specifically as an End Annunziata game. Uh, for me, I first thought that it was actually Echo 3, that Echo actually just arrived in a new universe and found a new enemy to fight. I quickly came to think after that it was actually quite inconsistent with the ending of Tidus of Time, where, as we know, Echo is following the Vortex Queen through Atlantis. She escapes through the time machine, and in the prehistoric era, it cannot control the beings and give birth to the arthropod species on Earth. But I came to accept, like naturally, that it was a different take on the Echo universe. And later, I think it was on internet when I had my first contact with actually the Echo community, that I learned that it was actually a soft reboot of Echo the Dolphin, a reboot where it was a different timeline, a different canonicity.
Yeah, yeah. Same here. Same here. I thought
Yeah,
it was Echo 3. Definitely.
exactly.
I wasn't really aware of this game being developed or anything. I didn't play it exactly when it launched. So, by the way, this was launched released in 2000. Earlier in Europe, according to my notes here, it was released in June in Europe and August in the US, and a little bit later, January 2001 in Japan.
Yeah.
So when this released, I wasn't really aware of it. I think I found the game probably a couple of years later. Probably end of 2002, early 2003, perhaps. That's when I think I found this game. I wasn't really aware of anything about the development, and so I just assumed it was Echo 3. And as I started the game, although there were some differences, I thought maybe it's the same thing. So there's an alien force, alien race attacking Earth. They're called the foe. Maybe it's just a name for the enemy. Okay, okay. And then as I progress through the story, I realize it's not really the same thing. So we're not dealing with the exact same reality here.
Yeah, exactly. We are common terms, and we will probably mention this later when we talk more deeper about the difference between the original games and the Death of the Future game, and how the Death of the Future game could be like the original game, at the same time being different, but it was definitely a different and yet very, very interesting, and I will say personally, a very successful shot at the Echo universe.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree. I agree. And so, yeah, I wasn't aware. I realized it even without and like you said, when I actually went online later, and then I realized, oh, this is
Yeah.
not really the same team. Or exactly, there's a person here that's not heading the project like the Mega Drive ones, etc. But yeah, so they decided to do this as a transition to the 3D realm for the Dreamcast, right? And I would say spoilers, but for me, very successful one as well. I think it translated well into 3D. This is again a sci-fi heavy story with all these themes of like the future. There's some time traveling, there's different realities, there are
Yes.
aliens involved. This is an interesting story here because they decided to put this in like into the future. The dolphins and humans coexist and are now like in charge of Earth in a way.
Yeah.
Dolphins reveal themselves as sentient to humans, and they started collaborating and expanding through the galaxies and the universe, and that angered this alien race called the Foe,
Mm,
right? And they
yeah.
started to try to attack Earth while humans and dolphins were out there expanding throughout the universe. I have to say the beginning. I don't know if I have footage here. I should, but the beginning, the initial cutscene was a little bit disturbing for me because it's like the way humans traveled in space in this reality is a bit
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. The space bubbles.
Space bubbles that are all naked
Yeah.
inside the space bubbles. That's weird, but okay.
I I always took it as a metaphor of human and dolphin actually spreading their knowledge, the peace, their ideal utopist society through space. I didn't think about the idea they were actually traveling through space in bubbles, but it's an interesting take. It, you have to bring also the fact that the eco story was a big part of the creation, for a big part of creation of science fiction American author David Brin.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
David Brin, as we maybe know, uh, actually wrote a science fiction saga about sentient dolphins, intelligent dolphin. It's the Uplift saga, which deals with actually transhumanism. It's about dolphins who have been genetically engineered by humans, and they become intelligent thanks to this. They share technology and they collaborate together. So we find that kind of theme in Defender of the Future. And some years ago, I think it was 2K6, the file I still kept say 2K8, but yeah, it was in this time. I wrote to David Brin to ask him a few questions regarding Defender of the Future. So I wrote a mail to him, and he was very kindly happy to answer my questions. So he gave me a lot of interesting trivia about Defender of the Future. First thing, we are with original games. He knew actually that the very first game, the one from Eden and Jetta,
Mhm.
was inspired by probably his most well-known novel, which is Started Rising. Okay, and later the designer of Appaloosa contacted him to work on Defender of the Future. So he accepted, and they took the plane to go at his place, and they started to draft idea. So David Brin had two roles in Defender of the Future. The first was to help ties together the various game scene into a world story arc. And this part of the game, the world story arc, was written in collaboration with the action shade designers. Uh, According to David Brin, the dev actually followed quite faithfully what was made by them together. The second thing is that he actually wrote the opening movie.
Okay.
He wrote the scenario of the opening movie that we can see at the beginning of the game and we just saw right now. And he had a total creative control on it. So that place, that part of the game, sorry, as he said, it belongs to him fully. And he said that the writing of each part was very easy, and that the actual version we can see in the game, the one we shown once again, is extremely accurate to the draft. And many gamers actually loved the intro and wrote him to tell him how they loved it. During the development, of course, when we develop a video game, mostly in the case, the gameplay is a priority over the story. So he had to use his imagination to create reason of why Echo would have to live or this event during the game.
Yeah.
And he made also an interesting comparison with the Uplift Saga. He said in Uplift Saga, the dolphin own their intelligence, their advanced intelligence, to the genetical engineering of humans, which allow them to finally understand each other, open to technology, and finally establish a partnership with humanity. In Echo of the Dolphin, Dolphin of the Future, the dolphin are already intelligent. Them and humans actually like each other but fail to understand each other. They will finally manage to do it, but by learning to think in a more broad manner, which will lead to their natural alliance, as described in the opening, and to the fact they are actually building a ideal society based on the famous dolphin quality, humility, compassion, wisdom, etc.,
The
etc.
traits that they
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah, and we can see some elements from his book, like some slight reference, like for example, the harness Echo uses in the man's nightmare part could be a reference to the harness the dolphin used in this book to work on generic and technological advancement. And David Brin also complimented the game. He said that not only he played the game, but his children also played the game, and he said it was a very beautiful game, proving that, I'm quoting him, that you can have excitement and beauty at the same time with only just the right amount of game violence.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Do you know how much, how well into the development process he was brought in? Because I read somewhere that he was brought in like later on to like you already I think mentioned, like to tie in some parts of gameplay that weren't really well connected through story. Do you know if that's
He
true?
that's just I he just told me these things, so probably didn't went very deep to the development. They gave him probably some core elements of the game. He managed to tie the stories. He worked, I know, as you say, he worked with some of the developers and managed to tie in the whole story. So he definitely has a big part of the story as connecting the different scenes and also as writing the opening. But in a deeper sense, I don't think he had actually a very big part.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because what I read was that he was brought in later on as they had already developed a lot of the stages and the mechanics of and gameplay and stuff. And but there was something missing in terms of story. How would this all connect? These different environments, these different worlds, in a way, right? These different realities,
Yeah.
and that's what he also brought in or brought to the table. The way to through story connect everything together to make it like make sense.
Yes, that's probably what he meant when he said in the question, in the answer he gave me, that the gameplay part of the game is a priority. Is a priority. So uh, I think yes, it probably happened like
Yeah.
this because they first created a concept and then they decided to say we need to have a story to grip the player to make them want to keep going with
Yeah.
the game, because a fun gameplay is nice, but people also enjoy a nice story. They are a nice
Yeah,
story.
for
So
sure.
that's
For sure.
probably when he was contacted to give some extra thing. It happens in some games that you have games with some advanced gameplay, advanced concept, but the story is lacking. So they ask an author later to come and build something, some role, some background story, and even a universe to give more depth to the game. It happened, like for example, with Clive Barker Undying on PC, where they had actually made a first draft of the game, and they decided to call the famous horror author Clive Barker to come and join in and actually give something. So he had a very deep involvement in the game, which led to ultimately the Clive Barker buying game we had. So probably David Wynn had some kind of similar experience, maybe in a less deep way,
It was
but
just
still
less
important.
involved, even. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Excellent. Something that was also part of this game that was probably interesting, I would say, probably at a certain point more to British gamers, but I believe now there's a broader appeal there, is that the narrator they brought in to narrate the game is
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker, sorry, the Fourth Doctor. So if you're a
Yeah,
Doctor Who fan, which I wasn't at the time, I am now, but I wasn't at the
yeah,
time, and that I remember reading the manual, or maybe even the back of the box. Maybe
yeah.
I think they
It was.
mentioned it there.
Yeah, and it's funny because at the time, Doctor Who, which is now a big part of the geek culture, wasn't part of the geek culture back then in France.
Yeah,
So
same here in Portugal. Yeah,
it's a very British thing. So
yeah, for
obviously,
sure.
it's something that belongs to British. But
I knew of Doctor Who.
yeah,
I didn't know what it was, but I had heard of it. So it was like part of the broader pop culture thing, but not really something that I was familiar with. Especially like in my country, we didn't get anything related to that series until it was like brought back in 2005, and then we started
yeah.
like with the new seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, same happened in France because we had different ones takes. We knew about things like DC Comics and Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like this, but Doctor Who was pretty much unknown. It only started to really kick off in France when the new series was released. There was the first Doctor of the new. I don't remember his name. He just lasted for one season when it was David Tennant,
Chris
etc.
Eccleston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eccleston, yeah,
Yeah.
Eccleston, yeah. Sorry for the accent. Eccleston, then it was David Tennant, then it was Matt Smith, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. The
that's
new.
at the time I watched Doctor Who out of curiosity because I said, okay, I am a Frenchman, I need to know test some British things to see if I can survive it, and yeah, throwing a little jab, but we have been doing this for centuries. It won't change much. But no, and I quite appreciated the thing. It has that kitsch element, which is quite nice. And while I wouldn't call myself a wooer, a very big fan of Doctor Who, I appreciated to watch it actually. And yes, indeed, to come back to the thing you said earlier, indeed, and that's quite curious when you think about it. Tom Baker, as the Doctor Who actor, was mentioned on the. I think it was actually the box of the French
I
version.
think the back of the
Yeah,
box,
the
yeah,
back.
which was the same as the one we had here. It's like the European version of the back of the
Yeah,
box.
European.
So it should have that mention there.
Yeah.
I do believe
Uh,
so.
I clearly remember that Tom Baker was mentioned as
Yeah.
for the game.
I remember seeing that and saying, "Oh yeah, nice. Who the hell is that?" But okay, but that was an interesting fact as well. So that they were trying to appeal to a broader sci-fi audience as well, not just by bringing in David Brin, but also Tom Baker as the narrator. The whole story was sci-fi heavy, so probably an effort to really appeal to that kind of audience that weren't just like gamers and not really just the Echo fans themselves, but people who are just into sci-fi, I think.
Yeah, and the thing of using big name of science fiction world to actually appeal to the player to show we are making a game which is very serious with very big counter in place to actually show you that we want to bring something really great, an experiment, an amazing experiment,
For sure, for sure. Yeah.
and it was.
It was, and it was. Yeah, so in terms of like the story, like without spoiling, although this is a 25-year-old game, the story in a simple way, we already mentioned it in passing, but Echo is a dolphin. If you
Yeah.
didn't realize from the title itself, Echo the Dolphin, Echo is a dolphin. Spoilers, I'm sorry.
Spoiler, sorry.
I
25 letters,
apologize.
spoiling again.
I apologize. Yeah. And not even 25 years later, like from the beginning, it's Echo the Dolphin. So,
We are going back very long.
But okay. If you didn't know, now you do. Uh, so, Echo is a dolphin. And in this universe, so dolphins and humans coexist. They collaborate. They go into the stars and share their vision of a utopia, like you said before, Ben. Just sharing their wisdom and their unity and their freedom with everyone. But they upset the foe who want to just conquer and devour everything in their way, which they have been doing for centuries. Instead of having my God, I just forgot the name. Oh, such an Echo fan I am. The globe thing from the
asteroid.
The asteroid. Yes, the asteroid. Instead of having the asteroid, why did I forget this? Instead of having the asteroid this time, humans and dolphins created together a guardian of sorts, which is like a big crystal that stands in Atlantis. Right, so it's like the replacement of the asteroid, and that's what guides Echo throughout the game, with the little crystal shards and whatnot. Just like the asteroid created the crystal shards, the glyphs from in the Mega Drive games to guide Echo. This time, it's the guardians, the crystal. Throughout the story, things happen. So Echo is left behind. Echo is like a young dolphin. Humans and other dolphins go into the stars, and while they do this, the foe attacks, and they crash into Earth, and they break the Guardian, and then Echo is chosen to help the Guardian put itself back together, travel to Atlantis. However, the foe does something even more evil by stealing somehow 5 important traits, personality traits that made dolphins become one with humans, become friends with, and united with humans. And throughout the game, what happens is that creates different realities as Echo travels to these different realities and tries to recover the noble traits that the foe has stolen. So, firstly, you start the game in the current reality, or not current, but the normal reality, normal future of Earth. You start in the Isle of Tranquility, and you travel to Atlantis to speak to the Guardian. But then you move on to Man's Nightmare, which is another chapter of the game. There, dolphins are enslaved by humans. They are more superstitious, more religious even. It's like a Dark Ages metaphor, perhaps. Men are no more, because without the help of dolphins, everything is polluted. Men are gone now, and Echo locates intelligence and ambition as the 2 traits that you can recover in this part of the story. But without other traits, with just intelligence and ambition, dolphins create their own nightmare. No, right?
Yeah.
And so dolphins enslaved humans, or they went to war with humans, and now
they chase them from the seas.
Exactly, they rule the oceans. So and now they're like a militaristic society with the clan and stuff. Echo once again saves the day and finds compassion and wisdom, but there's one trait missing, which is
Humility.
humility. And without humility, dolphins and humans weren't able to see the threat that the foe represented, and the foe queen now has that last trait, which Echo has to recover.
Yeah.
So that's basically the story without spoiling too much, but spoiling everything at the same time. But you have to play it to really understand what this means. And it's a very interesting story, I would say. I don't know. What do you think? I think it's a very cool. It's got nods to the story of the Mega Drive games in a way, but it's its own thing. And I thought at the time when playing it for the first time that was really cool.
Yeah, the Echo story is a prime example of this game, which actually have a very simple pitch in appearance, but gets very deep as we dive deeper, no pun intended, into the game. Uh, there's a lot of positive value. Echo the Dolphin is a saga which is highly regarded because of the very positive value it conveys. Ecologist value first, of course. We are in a game which show the beauty of ocean and emphasize on the natural and legendary, if I may say, friendship which ties human and dolphin at the same times. When you watch, when you play Defend of the Future, you can see that there are specific themes going through the games, and especially between the different arcs of the games. And you tend to see that somehow Echo the Dolphin, Defend of the Future, is almost some kind of allegory, metaphor of the worst thing in our world, but how these bad things in our world could lead to the specific realities Echo is actually visiting. For example, Dolphin's Nightmare, which is my absolute favorite part of the game, is about the death of the civilizations, the end of the world. The lyrics of Shrine of Controversy, the very first level of the game, the wonderful music of Shrine of Controversy. The lyrics are ancient knowledge of ancient days gone. So it's about loss and mourning, themes that are very present here. It's not just about the traits the dolphin lost. It's they lost their world, their civilization, and somehow their history and even their identity as a species. We see dolphins which are selfish, fatalistic. They have accepted their fate, their suffering, and they are actually following, I won't say stupid, but useless belief that actually keep them prisoners of archaic concepts. As you said very rightfully, it's like a dark age where it's superstition. There are different sects. You've got the movers, the crimson dolphin, the pilots, etc., etc. And they are so much obsessed with futile things that they don't see the immediate danger,
Yeah.
the doom that is actually above their head, the imminent catastrophe that is upcoming. And it's some of an allegory of humankind which likes to let itself go with its comfy life and not seeing the impending alerts of our world, the bad things that are happening to our world lately and which could actually lead to that very same fate. So maybe I'm taking a bit false stance there, but Echo, the Man's Night Palpat, I think is a very big warning about how we, when we don't have these traits, humility, etc., we may end like this because we learn in this reality that actually the foe and the human self-destructed themselves. They self-destructed and they left a world in ruins, in tatters, and the poor dolphins, which were used as slaves, are now left alone, hopeless, and there's a lot of absolute despair and a lot of nostalgia, a lot of nostalgia. You can see in Shrine of Controversy, the music is like mourning of the moon of a better world, which is no longer there. And this dolphin are somehow the ghost of this world, and the sad ghost, the sad shadow of this god. It's like some
And they
kind of
kind of
limbo.
miss, although they were enslaved, they miss their human masters, right? And because
Yeah.
they now have no purpose.
They have no purpose. That's right, and it's terrible because it's like I said, they have no more identity. They are no more dignity. They are no more independent. They live through their master. Some of them hate the humans for what they have done to them. Others
Yeah.
mourn the humans because they think it was better time, and they hope the humans will come back and finally bring back the better world. So that's why it's also one of my favorite part of the game, because it's probably the more gripping, the more moving part of the game.
Yeah.
So that's for man's nightmare. As for dolphin's nightmare, we are in a metaphor of social Darwinism pushed to the extreme. We have a very military, very strict society. The clan, led by the exalted ones, the three dolphins we fight at the end of
Hanging
the
Waters.
hanging waters. Yes, indeed. And it's interesting because we have a world with a lot of layers of gray, because we are supposed to side with the outcast to have them fight the clan, but even the outcasts are selfish, careless.
Yes.
They don't care about themselves. And when you play and fight the village, when you swim inside the village and talk to them and do even help them, you have some of the outcasts who actually come to tell you, why are you helping us? Why are you
Exactly.
doing
They don't
this?
understand
I don't
the idea
understand.
of compassion, right?
Yeah, because they gain the ambition and intelligence trait that we will think are positive, but in this case, we're using in a very negative way. We know that when intelligence and ambition meet each other, it could lead to the better or the worse. In this case, it led to the worse. So yeah, and you see at some point it was in Power of Levitation. You have these worlds which are enslaved to and using as living batteries as living generator for the hanging waters portal, and themselves say that even the outcasts treat them as lower beings. So it's different degrees, different layers of intolerance. It's a very pyramidal hierarchy. Well, the outcasts are the worst. The clan are the worst.
Was
The outcasts are
they're not
slightly
they're
better,
not
but
the
yeah,
worst because they have someone above them, right? Because they're
yeah,
just if they didn't, they would be the same, perhaps.
yeah. The outcasts are just not actively violent. They are just defiant, contempting the other species and just wanting to mind their own business and stay in corner. But the clan is actually naturally violent. So it's a pyramidal hierarchy of species where the weak is crushed by the strong one, and the weak only live to be crushed by the strong one. It's like submarine totalitarianism in somehow. So it's very interesting to see how they convey this kind of idea. And there's also something which is interesting. It's a fear of change, because the exalted ones are violent, dominating, but they're also afraid of change because they know the possible change could actually make them fall. I think it's Muteclone, the last boss of the place, which say, I don't want to risk anything. I don't want to risk my world to see if a theory is right or wrong. So yeah, there's a fear of change which is constant, and it's interesting to see how it's treated there. It's at the same time very simplistic and very, very nicely explained.
Yeah. Very nicely put. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
sure. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think you're really overthinking it at all. I think there are these metaphors in place. I think there are these ideas here in place. So I do agree with you. Yeah. Do you, was this something that you realized when you first played the game, or were you too young back then?
I had some, I felt some stuff like this. Uh, Especially, well, the Nightmare of the Dolphin was very post-apocalyptic, and actually, it sparked a lot of love of the post-apocalyptic environment in me. I love that kind of world where it's sad, but it's just people love sad and creepy things sometimes. That's yeah, it's by various horror genre and the Soul Saga. But yeah, but as for the Nightmare of the Dolphin, yeah, I felt it was something like this, especially um, uh, may I don't know if it plays a big role, but personal take the fact that I am being French with what the history of my country back then, decades ago, implies, had a very big resonance in me. Like uh, totalitarianism, the entrainment part with the prison and the torture, the resistance in the Caverns of Hopes, and of course the fights with uh, top bad guys who wants to actually enslave and destroy those who are not like them, the weak species. It resonated a lot on a history level because myself is a former history student.
Oh,
I've been studying history. I've been interested in several periods, of course, the two world war, and France, of course, had a very
yeah.
tragic experience with World War II, with that kind of things. The Dolphin's Nightmare resonated a lot because we actually faced a situation like this. So that's why I had to take a bit more time to analyze the Dolphin's Nightmare. The man's nightmare, sorry. The Dolphin's Nightmare literally came at me. World War II Wake of a Dolphin. French occupation. So yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so on a more lighter note, when did you find out about this game? Were you aware they were making a new one when it came out, or was it just like something that you saw, went to a game shop and oh, there's Echo the Dolphin again?
no, I know there was a new Ecco the Dolphin game coming because we had a magazine at the time, press papers, newspaper about video games. We had papers about specifically Nintendo games. We had other Sega games. And I think I remember, yes, it was, I don't remember the title of the magazine at the time. We had many, I would tell you the name, it will probably don't not ring to you because it was French papers, but one of them, which was focusing on the Mega Drive games, actually mentioned a new
Megaforce?
Eco game. Mega Force, probably, yep. Or maybe Joypad or
We
something
had
like this.
Megaforce in Portugal.
Mega,
I know
okay,
it was
okay.
a French thing, but it was also we also had a Portuguese version of Megaforce over here.
I think it was Megaforce. I know Megaforce was very active. I was always taking Megaforce when it was the 16 bits era. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's say Megaforce. Not sure, but let's say Megaforce. But I know that in a magazine there was a new Echo game coming, and I was so happy, so absolutely happy that like I was spending my days reading the new again and again and again and again to ensure that oh yeah, this part I forgot about this part. Oh yes, 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 and I bought the game day one on Dreamcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Excellent. Excellent.
big fan of Echo the Dolphin since I've been playing the game first on Mega Drive. So couldn't miss the opportunity, and I later bought the PlayStation 2 game many years later because I didn't get a PlayStation 2 before some time.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I was aware that they were making a new Echo game. I also read some magazines. I actually read some UK based magazines at the time. Um, I don't remember if I was aware of the game being developed or being in development at the time. I think I found out about it when I went to my usual game shop and saw Echo. I still think the cover of the game is quite cool.
Yeah.
And I actually do have it, I think, here on another scene. Let me see if I can show it to people. Nope, I don't think so. I don't think I do. I'll try to share
Mm,
it later.
yeah.
But yeah, but it's like this very nice blue
Mm,
background with echo. I still to this day one of the most beautiful covers, I
absolutely.
think.
It was a work of art. It looked like some magical creature diving in the sea in
Yeah,
another planet, So it has some Greek mythology vibe somehow.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And so I remember seeing that cover, and that probably like called my attention, and then or caught my attention, sorry. And when I saw it was Echo, and I mean I wasn't aware of a new Echo game being made. Oh, this is this Echo 3? Probably. And so I took it home and played it, and it really felt at the time, as I was starting to play, as it was like a sequel to the Mega Drive games, as we already mentioned. Then later on, I realized it wasn't, but at the time, I felt like it.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't really aware of anything about the development at the time. So, if you had to pick one thing as your favorite thing about this game, what would it be?
Hey. Yep.
Starting with
Where
the
to start?
easy questions.
Yeah, with so much to say because the war game is something I've been so much obsessed for about. Uh, I talked about the man's nightmare part, which is to me one of the best, if not maybe the best representation of a post-apocalyptic world I've ever seen in a video game. It's something which I remember fondly. Uh, the colors, the art, these the element, the mix of nature and lost technology, the very gloomy science fiction part. I actually love it. This atmosphere, this very gloomy, dark, almost abandoned science fiction things where there's that feeling of loneliness, which is feeling like you are in a world which before was luxurious, vibrant, wonderful, superb, and suddenly it has turned into the humanity's graveyard, and you are like, what happened? How did it come to it? And you are like, I want to know more. I want to explore more about this part. I want to know how the humanity disappeared, why the dolphin went there. So it's very tragic, but it's wonderful because there is that mix of darkness and at the same time poetry, macabre poetry, that nostalgia and beauty. There's a lot of beauty in all this darkness. The other thing I loved in Echo of the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, was the soundtrack. The soundtrack is absolutely wonderful. I have a bit of grudge with the main theme of the game, which sounds like
Okay.
more something which would belong to Flipper the Dolphin, more by Echo of the Dolphin. But I mean, I don't hate it, of course not. I would even say it's a very nice music, but yeah, it feels a bit weird when you after that hear about all the soundtrack, which is very much more atmospheric, etc. So yeah, you would start Echo the Dolphin and hear that music would feel like, okay, we are going to play a game for kids. That was already the trap for the original games. A lot of people today still believe that Echo the Dolphin is actually a cozy game like Animal Crossing,
Oh,
but you are a
really?
dolphin. Yeah, it's a common cliche. And then you start to
Oh,
swim.
yeah. Before they play the game, yeah. If they're not really,
For
if you're not
yeah,
familiar with it, yes, yes, I
yeah,
know that. I know that. Yeah,
when you are not familiar with the game and they start to see Echo the Dolphin, well,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
another game with for kids, and then suddenly, why do I see Xenomorph in the game? Why do I see Jurassic Park in the game? And why do in Echo the Dolphin, Death of the Future, suddenly I am like, I don't know, Chronicle of Riddick or something like this? Yeah,
yeah. So there we have the
yeah,
cover,
cover, yeah,
the beautiful
beyond this
cover,
cover.
the European one, a little bit
Mm.
different than the US one, I believe. But I do love this one. The US
There
one
is.
is a little bit like I don't know, maybe a little bit more realistic in a way, the colors
Maybe
of the ocean. But I
maybe
love
more
this
generic.
this version.
Maybe a bit more generic. Yeah, this one is
Yeah.
very more poetic, and it fits well with the cobalt theme of Sega anyway.
Yeah. I have to say that I disagree about the main theme, the opening theme of the
Mm,
game, because it brings me hope. I know
yeah, of course.
it's which is nice. And if you start playing a game that you don't really know much about, and it's all dark and gloomy from the
Mm,
get go, maybe you won't have the will to go through it. But I because Echo is, for me, or especially this one, I think all Echo games are like that for me, but they're both very beautiful games.
mm.
The backgrounds, and this is a particularly beautiful game, like graphically, uh, like the way that the oceans are depicted, even the future, or the different realities are, especially Dolphin's Nightmare, is very, very beautiful because the oceans are not polluted, right?
Yeah.
So men didn't do anything to the ocean, so it's like everything is very beautiful and vibrant. So Echo is both very beautiful and also very dark in its
Mm.
theme, right? So that's a very cool balance that they were able to strike with, in my opinion, both the original games
Yeah.
and this Dreamcast one. So I appreciate the theme song being a little bit more optimistic,
Mm.
which was not the case with the Mega Drive games, I think.
No, no, because the thing is, the soundtrack from the original games is heavily inspired from Pink Floyd.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. When and Annunziata developed the game, I think he said that he was actually playing Pink Floyd in the game studio to inspire people. Like the one of the level and one of the very last level is named "Welcome to the
Welcome
Machine,"
to the
which
Machine.
refill.
Yeah.
Yep, the same of the same song from the "Wish You Were Here" album from Pink Floyd, and I own to Echo to actually listen to Pink Floyd and to have Pink Floyd as my favorite band ever.
Okay.
So thank you, Echo. Well,
Thank you, Ed and Anziata. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Thank Ed and Nujata. And yeah, as for the main title, yeah, I totally understand your point, and it's true that you have a good point by saying yeah, it brings optimism to it's joyful, it's cheerful, uh, it's yeah, it's very it just feels a bit different, but I have nothing against the theme at all, and I would never replace it for anything because I mean it's a dolphin. We love the dolphin. They're nice, they're cool, and it perfectly fits the dolphin part of the dolphin theme of Echo.
And the beginning of the game, right? The first chapter, so to speak, of the game. I would divide this as like four chapters, right? The initial one, where everything is okay in the world, or sort of, not really that bad. Things aren't that bad. And I think the opening reflects that. But I understand your point of view. Yeah, different. Like it's different from what we got from the original ones. Yeah, for me, in terms of like what my favorite parts of the game are, or what the favorite things about the game, I would say first and foremost the gameplay is really, really cool. I really enjoy controlling Echo. I have to say, and maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here because we're going to talk about similarities and differences in a little bit, but they were able to translate the difficulty of Echo brilliantly from 2D to
Yeah,
3D.
sometimes too much.
Yeah, they were too
Trauma.
faithful. Too faithful. I like how one of the most difficult things in the game is like the second stage where you have to like
Yeah,
grab, like attract the shark and have it get stuck into a hole.
yeah, the great white shark. Yeah,
That's one of the most difficult things, and it's the second stage in the game. But I digress. Gameplay in terms of like how you control Echo is really, really good. When I went back to I recorded this a few days ago. When I went back to replay the whole thing. I sometimes go back, but I haven't really, or I hadn't really completed the game, played the game from start to finish in a while. And I have to say, it takes a little while to get used to controlling Echo without inverted controls, which is how we usually control things in this modern day.
Yeah.
It really is up, down is down, left is left, right is right. You only have one analog stick because the Dreamcast controller only had one. I don't know, by the way, maybe you can talk about that later because you played the PS2 version.
Yeah.
Did they use the right stick for anything?
I think they did. I've been playing the PS2 version since long ago. I think you use it to actually be able to, turn around, like, make the half turn, something like this. Or,
Okay.
yeah, I need to check again. I'm not sure anymore. So sorry about that.
No, it's okay because I was thinking having a second analog stick would be helpful in some parts of the game to maybe even just control the camera a little bit. That would be nice.
Yeah, I last time I played it on a emulator using my DualShock 4 from PlayStation 4, and I think indeed we were using actually the second joystick to make some half turn, when you
Okay.
are. So it made the thing
Because
a little bit easier.
you use the triggers, the analog
The triggers.
triggers, right? In the Dreamcast version to just look. And with, I believe, X at the same time, you would use that to quick turn, right? I believe so. So trigger and X would be quick turn. But it wasn't really the best, like the most intuitive way. For the time, it was great, but for like modern day controls, if this game was to be released again, I think that was one of the things that they
They
would have to
probably
work on.
Yeah, they will probably have to change several things
Yeah,
to
for
make it
sure.
more, because I mean that's what probably I don't know yet meant also by modern gameplay sensitivities about the third Echo game. So we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
digressing too again, but yeah, it's interesting because as you said, the difficulty was very well translated. It's once again a prime example of a game which actually with almost straight immediately tell you, yep, you are going to suffer.
Yeah,
That's a bit. Last time I saw that was in the Soul Saga. So I'm making probably a very generic and over exaggerated comparison because I know that people say today that whenever you have a difficult game, you will automatically compare it to the Soul Saga. But
that's true.
Echo was there before, and it was already the OG, not Soul game, but OG difficult game. Oops, jumped.
Yeah,
And
I was jumped by the shark. If you're watching
yeah.
the video version, yes, this was hard.
So yeah, is that part with the shark was something I
Yeah.
struggled to figure out until uh, randomly I think the shark managed to get stuck in the oil, and I was like, okay, so that's how you have to do it, and then yeah, because today we are used to tooltips and tutorials telling you hints, etc., etc. You had to figure out there by yourself at the time. So you were like, yep, you're there.
I have no
Definitely.
idea how I was able to complete this game back in the day. I have to, so when I was playing this, I went back and there we go again, dead. I had to find a gameplay guide to help me out with some of the bits that I didn't remember, especially the later ones. And I have no idea how I was able to, without that, just figure it out myself. I have no idea. Especially things that require you to do things in certain order or whatever it is, or to find paths that are not really that clear. I would say probably I had more time on my hands. So yeah, probably.
Yeah, you had a very cryptic hint with a glyph, and you were like, okay, I need to figure out how to do that. But I must say that
Again,
was,
translation, a perfect translation from the 2D games to this.
yeah,
It was the
exactly.
same.
And I must say it wasn't, while it was, I was struggling with this, it wasn't the hardest, but I faced the Ecco the Dolphin, different of the future. We are, yeah, three, four things that I faced in Ecco the Dolphin, and uh, I will talk maybe about that in due time. But I know I back then managed to actually crash the game many times because of a very specific thing, which I
Okay.
will explain in due time. But
Okay. Okay.
or if
You can now. You can now. Feel
yeah,
free to. Yeah.
so since we are talking about difficulty, I will mention the hardest part of the game I've been facing. Beside this one, the other part was the level process that never ends. In
Okay.
Nice
Yeah.
Nightmare, with the switches, the
Yes.
colors you had to
Yes.
figure out. I think I have spent days trying to figure out how to get out of there. Coming
Yes.
back, play with the switch, and let's say I
Yes. Yes.
struggled to understand that you had actually a water gauge that was filling and emptying depending on whether you were activating this switch or this switch. And I've one moment I said, okay, let's see if I fill everything or if I empty everything, etc. etc. Oh yes, yeah, exit, good. I was like, it's you were like, phew, but at the same time, it's rewarding because you say, I managed to beat you. I managed to beat the level. The other difficult part was, sorry, I am probably going to bring back some trauma to the players of the game, but hanging waters. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes. Yes.
it it's the world level is not to the water top level of Tidus of Time, in the
Yeah.
ideal future, which was very much appreciated by me because I love Tidus of Time, and this one, oh, the memories, the
This is
sight.
both my favorite and my least favorite part of the game.
Yeah, it's a very love-hate relationship
It
people
is.
have
Yes.
with that level. It's absolutely a masterpiece of visual and gameplay style, but God, how hard it was. It was the jump, the part where you had to avoid these little transition barrier that were hitting you while you were led by a current, the jump, the bubble things, and all that stuff, and trying to figure out which switch to. Yeah, it was whoa.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
One of the frustrating part of the game also at the end of the game was transfiguration when you had to turn into a little fish to open a
Mm-hmm.
wound in the vortex in the foe's body, and you had to avoid the damn snake that was throwing a laser at you and turning you back into a wake of a dolphin. I hated that snake. Just and later I struggled also with the very last was the art of the foe,
Okay.
and that's where I actually crashed the game because I noticed it was on the Dreamcast version. I don't know if they fixed this in the PlayStation version. I need to try again. But you're fighting, you're inside the heart cavity, and you have this little creature falling from above, and slowly you have the place getting flooded more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use your sonar on the little creatures to throw them against the earth, freeze it, and then touch it to hurt the queen. The thing is, when I throw the earth, Echo could actually hurt the queen by just touching it, not even charging, just swimming and touching it was enough.
Okay.
And I could actually hurt her many times in a row. And I thought, okay, that's the way to do because she's screaming. There's that big shake, queen shake, I think. And after like 10 minutes, still nothing. The water was slow. I was like, okay, can you die, please, already? And at some moment, the game started to lose frame rates, to lose FPS, to stop, to move slower. So what's going on? Is it part of the game? And I kept doing this, and I was like, what's else going on? And at some point, I was like having a slideshow on my screen. And like really, I'm not joking, really slideshow. It was very like horrible. The water was almost at the top. I was like trying to uh, don't and crash. the game crashed, totally froze, and I couldn't do anything. So I was like, or maybe I did something wrong. So I tried again, same result again, and same result. I was totally stuck, and I was starting to be afraid that my game had really a problem, like a nasty bug, and probably my save was doomed. And at some point, I decided to go. Let's not touch it, and let's just charge the art.
Okay.
And there it worked. After
Okay.
several charges, like, it was back and was like, okay, that was interesting. So I just had to charge actually, but when you only touch the heart, you can actually crash the game. So it was the first time
So be
probably in
careful.
my life. Yep, be careful. If
Don't
you want to,
crash the game.
if you don't touch the heart. If you want to kill an alien queen, don't touch the heart.
Exactly,
Charge it. You
exactly. That's a
charge it.
life lesson right there. If you're preparing for like an alien invasion, don't touch the heart. Charge the
Charge. You
heart.
will crash
Yeah.
reality. So
Yes.
and you have to
Yes.
restart your Dreamcast reality. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that's the first time I've discovered actually it was funny. I don't know if I fixed that in the PS2 version or if it was something totally random I had on my
I don't
specific
think
game
I
on my
ever ran into that, but I can try. I can try to emulate that. Yeah, see if it
Sure.
works. See if
Let
it
me
happens. I'll
let
let
me
you
know
know.
if the Dreamcast game. Yeah,
Yes.
of course. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
all these things that actually manage to convey the difficulty from the original games.
You unlocked a memory in me. You process that never ends. Yes, yes, I remember that. I remember. I have very specific memories of playing this game, and now I remember playing it through a very long time. I believe the most time I spent with this game, or the part where I got stuck, was really Man's Nightmare, and perhaps Process That Never Ends was part of it. And even before that, what was the level before that when you get the harness and you have to move the carts
A master of
with
golden skill.
probably yeah, Master of
Yeah.
Forgotten Skills. So all of that chapter involved some precision as well, which is much like in the 2D Echo games. You had to be precise in some parts, like moving a rock or something, or a shell or something. And that's not always the easiest thing to do in a game where you're controlling a dolphin underwater. So I remember spending a lot of days and doing exactly what you just said. Just like, I'm going to leave it here. I'm very frustrated. I'm going to come back tomorrow. And
Yeah.
then I would spend a lot of time trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. And I don't remember what or how I figured it out, but I probably didn't. I probably just randomly was able to unlock it and move on. I would not say it was like something that I figured out. I'm not that smart. So I probably just by sheer luck was able to figure it out. But yeah, you unlocked a memory there of being stuck in that specific level for several days. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I just remembered it's not the process that never ends is not the level's name. It's actually perpetual fluidity. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
made a mistake. Process that never ends is the one when you have to bring the crystal and refine them and use them for the laser part at the end.
Okay.
But yeah, then I think it's blade in motion,
Then you
and
have
then
the
it's
blades. Yes.
yeah, the blade and perpetual fluidity. I made a oopsie there. So yeah, it's
Okay.
perpetual
Yeah.
fluidity there. So and yeah, it was. I think it was out of sheer too for me that I managed to finish the level. So later, when I played the game again, I decided to try to figure out how to play it. I think if I had to play the game again, I would still get lost there.
Yes. Yes. I needed a guide this time. I just quit. I'm not gonna go try to figure this out on my own. I don't have the time, so I'll just look up a guide, and yeah, that's what I did.
That's the thing I like it also in the Mind's Nightmare is that all along you actually follow the process of the crystal which feed the machine at the end of the game. There's a nice part of narrative, an environmental narration, which is a showcase there from the Master of the Forgotten Skill until
Yeah.
the matching fight. You see how the crystals are refined and used to actually feed the man's machine at the end. It's very interesting.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And you're also not alone in that
No,
specific part of the game, right? You're followed by Pilot, I believe.
yeah, pilot, yeah,
Like the
the
young
little
dolphin.
pilot.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but definitely for me, so in terms of like favorite parts of the game, I was really a fan of getting to Atlantis, to be
Of
honest.
course,
It's just
it's
like
beautiful.
in the original ones, like Atlantis, like the mythological city, and this is a different take. Not
Yeah,
really. I think I would prefer a 3D version of the what we saw in the Mega Drive game, like more of
yeah,
like a real city with like marble and stuff. But this one was cool as well.
yeah.
But definitely my favorite part in terms of what I remember the most, music as well, like soundtrack, Hanging Waters. That said, in this time replaying the game, when I replayed the game to record this, my God, the frustration was
Yeah.
really, really complicated. I think I'm losing skills. I was never a pro gamer, and now even less. And it was really, really difficult. But
You know, it was difficult for everybody. Don't worry, even for me,
yeah,
who played extensively, and yet I struggled. We all struggled. I think we could open a first therapy session about the hanging waters.
nightmares, gamer's nightmare, Hanging Waters, just a game of Hanging Waters.
Hanging water,
That's
extra
the
novel is the next Ecco
yeah
the Dolphin
bad
game. So
ending, bad ending.
yeah,
Yeah, but definitely, and moving on to the one of the things that we said we would talk about, like how well did they translate the 2D Echo experience into 3D? And we've already touched on this a little bit, but it really feels like, first of all, there were common themes, like we already said, like Echo saves the world. Echo has like some sort of being guiding him along different time periods, or in this case, different realities. The difficulty is there, so
difficulty.
I
Yeah,
don't think. And I hear people saying how Mario 64 was like the perfect transition from a 2D game into a 3D plane. No. Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future is the definitive like transition to 3D, because it really is Echo. So whether you played it back in the day or whether you play like the 2D games now and then move on to Defender of the Future, this really feels like an Echo game that was just moved to a different perspective, to a third dimension. Could it be a little bit less difficult? Probably. That
but
would be
would it
better,
be Echo?
but it wouldn't be Echo. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And part of the difficulty, just like in the 2D games, I would say, is like environmental difficulty, if you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
you have to breathe, just like in the
yeah.
2D
Wait,
games.
yeah,
You don't always have easy access to air. Even in the first few stages, you go into caverns and you have to find like little pockets of air, fight currents. So it's the environmental difficulty here as well at play. Again, with the hanging waters, like the currents and all those, like if you miss a jump, down you go,
yeah.
down you go, and back in the level you go as well. So, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah, a lot of salt on the wounds there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Defender of the Future is one of the very best example of how a game saga has been successful into transitioning from the 2D environment to the 3D environment. We know how this part of video game has been deadly to some licenses. Uh, Earthbound Jim, Bubsy, to quote a few ones, several, even Sonic. Well, Sonic had a good start, and then later it was a bit more difficult. But
definitely.
Yeah, Mario 64 was a masterpiece and showed how Nintendo managed perfectly to succeed and also established a standard of gameplay. But Echo of a Dolphin is another excellent example because they managed not only to indeed translate the 2D elements into 3D, but also to give them a a fresh a fresh take.
Yeah,
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 uh, we have a very nice, smooth gameplay. We are Echo is easy to move. It's very agile. Uh, it's a pleasure to play Echo. I just talked earlier about how you love the gameplay part, how you love the smooth part, and yeah, and you can see that they manage also to keep some elements from the original games. Like for example, when you have to use rocks to fight the currents and be able to dive the sonar and the emphasis of exploration. It has
hmm,
an almost open world feeling where you
yeah,
have to explore the levels, and it rewards you with it rewards the exploration, just like indeed in the original in the original game. You can bypass these things, but you will miss several things. Like for example, in the original Ecco of a Dolphin, you have these two levels, the vents and the lagoon, where you had to save dolphins to get extra sonar skills. You could totally end the game without having them. It would be fine, not, but it was adding to the depth of the game, to the depth of the gameplay, and we find this again in Echo of the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. You find some extra elements, should it be to collect the vitalities, to find some character to talk to, or just to explore nice and beautiful environment. And uh, you they manage also to translate the tone, that mix of wonder and fright. You know how how the ocean is like space, that big universe which is very attracting to us and at the same time very terrifying, because it's a place we know we don't have a full grip. We know that the place is not something we totally master, and it's
hmm,
thrilling, and it's something very alien. It's not often that we actually can explore the ocean, but at the time, lately it has become something more of a trend. But yeah, it Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future because of this, because it has some unique takes in video game for the time. It was something that actually inspired a thrill for mystery, for its exotism, and uh, that we to go further, to discover more things, to be like what is waiting for me next, because it's the ocean. I don't know what's inside. I know on Earth I could expect towns, I could expect humans, I could expect fish, but underwater, what can I expect? What is hiding behind this corner? What is hiding inside this cave? I am in my nightmare level. What I have to expect? It was the mystery that Echo brings that makes us want to keep going.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's a very good point. This is, it's not an open world game, but it's like every stage is self-contained, but there are very long stages,
Mm,
and you will find that from the loading times that you will sometimes see between stages, they sometimes take a little bit to load. Nothing too crazy, I think, especially for the time, but
yeah.
there are some really long stages, like very wide and very intricate and complex, like with several caves, like a cave system that has different paths, and you can learn songs that help you, that you can sing to fish, and fish will follow you along.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
like in the original one, you can learn songs that like stun sharks to help you fight them. So, and like you said, there's also a bit of like optional content, if you will,
Mm,
optional things that you can do, optional missions, if you will. Something that I really enjoyed is how they implemented the sonar and the map system, which
mm,
it gets a little bit tricky to use, and then sometimes I think I speak for myself at least. I tend to forget that you have a map, especially when I'm like a little bit more stressed out and really
yeah.
lost. But there's a map system just like in the original one or ones, and you can just use your sonar and
Yeah.
bring up a map on
Mhm.
screen,
Yeah.
which is a really cool touch. So another similarity. The mystery, like you said, I totally agree with you. Like the mystery of the
Mm.
ocean, that sense of dread of, for example, like I am now in this footage, very short on health, very short on
Mm.
air. Will I be able to make it just to
Yeah.
breathe? Yes.
Yeah, that was one a part of the stress factor that Echo brings us, because we often joke about Echo being an horror game about ugly alien species, but it's also about the survival part. It somehow we could say that Echo kinda pioneered the survival genre with this part. This is the part. Maybe I'm taking a bold statement there, but definitely. There was
you,
not much many game where you
you
have
have
to
the
actually
survival
manage.
and you have the horror. So
Yep. Yep. And just to come back about the game's difficulty and the huge levels, there is a level which comes into my mind when we talk about this. It Villair, the clan slayer, which where you are, passing as a member of a clan, and you are in the headquarters, and you have to follow orders, try to gain new tattoos to become to access to new places. It was a full labyrinth. Well, I struggled a bit also to actually manage to finish the level. It was also struggling there, but it was. I was often telling myself that place is huge. Where's the end?
yeah, that's true. That's true. So very long levels, which was something interesting, and for the time, I don't remember like a game that had without loading screens, right? So that was you had loading screens between levels,
Mm,
between stages, but the stages themselves were very long. So, and it's all like underwater, very interesting and detailed scenarios and backgrounds. So it's a very beautiful game. I think very impressive graphically, and it still holds up. I would say, just like
yeah,
I was watching the footage, and especially Echo's model is really really detailed,
yeah.
like many different like points of articulation, the fins move, even the movement is really smooth, right? And you can
Mm,
like use the you can like I can't remember what they call it when you go above the water and you like use
yeah.
your fins.
Mm,
That's a very cool movement that you can do. You have a tutorial at the beginning. They teach you how to use all these
yeah.
movements, right? I think it's tail walk. I can't remember if
The
I'm right
tail
or wrong.
walk,
I think
yeah.
it's tail
I don't
walk, right?
remember it had a specific name or
Yeah,
something,
I
but
think
yeah.
so.
Well, let's call it tail walk.
Let's tail
Tail walk.
walk, like because you
Tail
like
walk.
are walking with your tail, yeah. So it's very cool. There are some puzzle elements, just like in the original ones.
Mm,
There's an exploration side of it, just like you mentioned, uh, and I think a bit like in the originals, the fact that you you have a story, and this time with cutscenes and my like more detail, helps you want to move on even if
mm,
the game is difficult, especially this one. It's easier to follow the story, so it's easier for you to also have that like drive to keep going even though the game is very very difficult, right?
yeah. Yeah, and as for the and something else I noticed is that the very last level in the fourth arc felt. I felt this part was a bit rushed. The
Okay,
levels
yeah,
were.
yeah, for sure.
So I don't know if it was something they wanted to do, or if it was maybe because they lacked some development time, or
Hmm.
I can only speculate there. But the first part felt very quite rushed. There was almost no music. There was, let's say, very short level like Seed of Poison, Viachery. Viachery was a bit tricky because of the puzzle thing, but once we figured it out, it was quick. Even Metamorphosis, I think it was the name, or Transfiguration. If
Transfiguration,
you,
yeah.
yeah, if you knew how to deal with the thing, it could, and were lucky to avoid the damn snake at the end. It could take only a few minutes. So yeah, that this part felt very rushed. The level felt quite tiny, very enclosed, but maybe
Hmm.
that was also to emphasize the feeling of dread and huge claustrophobia that the foe inspired to us.
But it definitely felt like that. I had the same feeling at the time. It was really obviously difficulty meant you probably had to replay it a little bit, like trial and error and stuff. But whenever you were able to like figure it out, it doesn't really take a long time to finish. Whereas other parts of the game, uh, there's a process that has to be done, and even if you already know what to do, it takes some time. So the levels are longer. The even if it's not even not because of the difficulty alone, but also because of what you have to do, what is required of you,
Yeah,
they are a little bit longer, more complex, right? So I do feel like that was probably what happened. They maybe lacked some development time, or they just really wanted to, people already suffered so much. So let's just do
yeah,
a quick
yeah.
conclusion here.
Let's make it quick and
Let's make
yep,
it quick. Let's end their suffering and end
yeah.
the foe's suffering at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, very good. So we're getting closer to the end here, Ben. It's really cool that I got to spend this time with you talking about this game that meant so much to me. I know you played the PS2 version though, so
Yep.
I didn't. How did it compare to you?
So first, the PS2 version was released in 2K02, so barely I think 1 year and a half after the DC version, and for once this time it was the USA which got it first, and
Hmm.
then the Europeans. It mostly felt the same. I think there are some tiny graphical improvement, like more vivid color, maybe a slightly improved level of details, distance of view, something like this. But graphically, I mean, you won't notice much of a difference. I think it's maybe more vivid, but very slightly. There were, if I'm not wrong, some extra sound I did, like you can see some dolphins singing during the very first part of the game as a background sound. The maps were more detailed also. They had much more artistic presentation. It was beautiful, but sometimes it was quite useless. Like, for example, Shrine of Controversy, try to use the map, good luck. And it also had a tiny compass to help you
Oh,
to navigate. Yep. I think they also made a change to level so that you could have two ways to end it. I don't remember which one. I will need to figure out again. So, but yeah, just play it and you may find it. And they also fixed some glitches. So maybe they fixed the famous glitches I mentioned earlier about the feature of the
don't touch
The
the
main,
foe.
yeah, the main new thing of the PS2 version is the gallery
Okay.
because it's a new feature that the PS2 version of Echo the Dolphin brings. It's a gallery where you can listen to the game's music, you can replay the cinematics. There's a it's very beautiful because it's a nice building made in the Atlantics, which is made in different style. Each from every level styles. You have many rooms. You have four rooms for the different I will call them biomes of the games. And in these rooms, you have frames displaying concept art. To be able to see this concept art, you had to collect all the vitalities of every levels. So it added a bit of interest to collecting the vitalities because besides increasing your life bar, it also allowed you to unlock some very nice concept arts. So you could navigate there. There are some little parts you could interact with for fun. It was totally devoid of any enemy. There was no need for oxygen or survival, etc. It was a complete bonus room. You had a big organ, I think, which allow you to play the different music of the game, and you have a little submarine theater room where you could play the movies. It was a really nice addition because yeah, it's something very secondary, but it's a nice addition and a nice excuse to actually enjoy the game and also discover some nice artwork. And yeah, it's very cozy and really nice. So
Nice.
that's I think about it. I can tell about the PlayStation 2 version, and of course the beautiful
There we go.
artwork here. Sorry, it's reversed.
It's
So
reverse.
yeah,
I'll try to mirror
yeah,
it. There we go.
very good. So
There we
yeah,
go.
different of the
Okay.
future. So yeah, up, back to. So enjoy some French there. So yeah,
Okay. Very
fair.
good. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Well done. So I actually never played this this version of the game, but yeah, I don't think I ever played any PS2 versions of any Dreamcast game. The only Sega games that I played on PS2 or other consoles were games that were released after the Dreamcast was dead, like Sonic Heroes and stuff like that. That's oh no, I lie. I played the GameCube versions of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
GameCube.
Yeah, later, but much later, much later. Yeah. There was also an unreleased sequel. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about this as we close our game here, our episode, our conversation about Defender of the Future. An unreleased sequel called Sentinels, so Echo 2 Sentinels of the Universe, which was in development until early 2001, I think. I believe.
Yeah, I think it was something
Yes,
like this.
yes, 2001. Yes, February 2001. I'm mentioning the date because, not Caverns of Hope. That's you. Hidden Palace,
Yeah, Hidden
which
Palace. Yeah.
is a prolific community dedicated to game preservation and such. They
We need
actually,
that.
yeah, they actually found a build, like a prototype. Look
Yeah,
at this. Maybe this is better this way.
yeah,
There
this
we
one.
go.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
one. So and it's like reversed and upside down and stuff. But they found this prototype. So obviously, and we can see from the Atlantis level here, it starts. It picks up right after the end of Defender of the Future because we have like the Echo statue there next to the Guardian. So it picks up from there. There were some English issues or issues with the English language used here. So probably something that they would fix later on. But it basically looked like Defender of the Future, right?
yep.
Maybe a little bit smoother, but not sure if that's because this was like recorded from the development kits and not really a Dreamcast or a PS2 or whatever. So yeah,
Yeah, Defend of the Future came out as a surprise because it was never officially unveiled. As you said, we learned about it when I think it was in 2K07 or something like this that we learned about something of the universe through a game preservationist. And of course, later, the release of the prototype of the SEGA the Dreamcast dev kit from Eden Palace. Thanks to them again. It was released in 2K16, if I am not wrong again. And when I learned about this, I was like, they accept a Echo second. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. As breaking as the time when I learned that Disney got Star Wars and they decided to discontinue the expanded universe. But that's another debate. um, but yeah, it was a very big surprise, like a bittersweet surprise because yeah, it meant that Echo had kept Sega interest, but at the same time, it was a concept we could never played it, and it was accepted because the Dreamcast was discontinued, and I was like, why didn't just release the game on the PS2 or the Xbox or something like this?
Yeah.
They probably had their reason, which I would say is maybe because Sega decided to still keep the exclusivity on the Echo's right. We know that there was some stuff happening between Sega and Annunziata and the Echo's right, and in 2K16 we learned that they Ed Annunziata and uh, Sega found an agreement about the Echo brand. It was from the court of it was a statement from a justice court in America. I don't remember which one. The Superior Court of San Francisco. There. But yeah, Sentinel of the Universe was released as a prototype, and you can actually play it, as you can see here, using a Dreamcast emulator. So it's a bit tricky to configure, but I could try my hand on it. And yeah, so of course, there's no sound, there's no music. You've got all this data displayed on the top left at the bottom right of the screen. You can see the frame rate, for example, like at best we were like 33.3 FPS, a bit less. So it shows you the actual at the time. It's interesting to see at the time how the game run. But yeah, you have these place. You've got a rocky cavern. You've got a big place with a huge building, a huge dive building, and it was an interesting. And you've got also yeah, that's the building I was talking about. And you've got also I think it was hanging water looking like level at some point too.
Wasn't there an ice level as well? I believe they
What?
found an ice level, right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a nice level too. Yes, it's been some time since I've played the prototype, so maybe there were
Yeah.
also pink dolphins. There were supposed to be pink dolphins or something like this. So they were supposed to have a new breed of dolphins. And yeah, so props to one of the members of the Caverns of Hope named Danae with love, who actually had a lot of things with Echo the Dolphin and dive extensively through the Sentinel of the Universe and very, very loved the pink dolphin part. So props to her. But yeah, it was very interesting. So you were like, I feel like I'm playing Echo the Dolphin at the same time. It's bittersweet because it will never be finished, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels sad.
Yeah. It would have been nice. I don't know how well it sold on the PS2. So probably like the idea of getting this game for the PS2 or Xbox or whatever would probably be very heavily dependent on the game selling well on that platform. Have no idea. Have no data on that. I don't know if you have
I've tried
anything.
to find some data, but unfortunately I didn't. Besides, I think the PS2 version of Echo the Dolphin had a lower Metacritic score than
Oh yeah.
the Dreamcast version. But obviously, we were in 2K8, so the video game evolved, right? So Echo the Dolphin is to me still absolutely beautiful today, but to 2K8 standard, it was probably behind its time, beyond the time. So they probably treated it as some kind of here's a hanging water like level somehow. I remember
Yep.
they probably treated it as some kind of maybe lazy remaster or lazy port than anything else, and it's sad
Yeah.
because it's.
So by the way, on the Dreamcast, the Metacritic score is 84,
Yeah.
and PlayStation 2 71.
Yeah,
So,
I
by
think-
the way, still pretty good. Generally favorable here in terms of user score as well. So the Dreamcast version has an 8.0 user score, so not like critics score. So it's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
I would have loved to see this, obviously, a sequel to Defender of the Future, but it is what it is, and we have to resign to what we
but
have.
we will have finally Echo 3, so somehow,
That's
it's
true.
a huge
That's true.
consolation.
Yeah. And so that's the last thing we wanted to cover before we go, as this episode's already running a little bit longer. But Ed Annunziata said recently in an interview, and that shocked everyone because no one was expecting this. It was like sort of a weird way of announcing it.
Yeah.
And he said, we will make a new third game with contemporary play and GPU sensibilities. Obviously, they're remaking, remastering Echo 1 and Echo Tides of Time. But more like interesting to what we're discussing today, Defender of the Future, is this new third game that he says will have contemporary play and GPU sensibilities. So, do you think this will be a 3D Echo game? Because the other two will not be 2D, 3D, right? So he will be remaking or remastering the 2D ones. Do you think we can expect a proper open world, or I guess open ocean Echo game from Adam and Ziada in team?
Uh, so the thing is, when you say that we will make a new for game with contemporary play and GPU sensibilities, it can mean a lot of things because today the games is very diverse. It can mean a very photorealistic 3D game using Unreal Engine 5 and ray tracing everywhere, or a very retro game like 2.5 game. You pay a tribute to the original episodes while still taking a fresh take on the concept, a bit like what Koji Igarashi made with Bloodstained, which is a spiritual sequel to the Castlevania games on the 3DS and the not the 3DS, sorry, the Nintendo DS. It could be a 2.5D games, or it could they maybe could bring it to 3D games because they talk about GPU sensibilities, so graphics. So we may expect that we could have some very photorealistic graphics. When you think about it, Echo is very photorealistic. They wanted to make the ocean as realistic as possible, as beautiful as possible. So we may add something very photorealistic, but at the same time very artsy, with a very specific choice of colors, a very big play with lightning, with shadowing, and with a very, very, very sophisticated artistic direction. Like they could totally use the Unreal Engine 5 or maybe the Unity engine or a very powerful engine to convey the thing, and probably and that's where comes the gameplay part, add some extra concept of gameplay based on, like, for example, water physics, uh, ocean scientific data, because I know Alden Jetta love the ocean, he love the sea, so
Yeah.
he probably brings his expertise, his personal conception about on this. There could be a small little RPG part with skill tree, like for example skills for your sonar, for your charge, for your survivability. Um, may like a sonar to an idea that I could have about this life would be that you don't have any map at the beginning, and you will use the sonar to actually browse the level and build the mini map as you go through the level. You start to use the sonar where you are, and you have already a first draft of where you are, and then you move on, and when you use the sonar again, and then you add an extra part to the map, etc. That could be an idea.
Okay.
There could
Okay.
that could be
Interesting.
open world. There could be open world environment with a huge, absolutely huge ocean to explore, and of course we may totally expect things like time traveling or dimension traveling. I think we can expect this. It's been a huge part of the saga since like forever, so I don't think we may pass this. What would be interesting to know is the story. Are we going to find other characters, over new characters? Will there be a new threat? Because at the end of the Equator, we assume that the Vortex case is closed. The Vortex will come back to time, to Jurassic time, I said it earlier. They couldn't rule the creators at the time, and we had to adapt and become the arthropods. So, does that mean that we are going to face a new enemy? Maybe the foe, Maybe they could make a tie-in with Echo the Dolphin, Dolphin of the Future. I know a lot of
Mm,
people, a lot of fans have been trying to make a tie-in between the two universes. I'm not sure of it because it's
I'm
an
not sure
engine.
if Ed would
Yeah,
go with that. Yeah, for that.
yeah.
Not really.
Echo belongs
He's
to Ed, his baby.
publicly, yeah, he's publicly spoken about how that's not his story. So I don't think he wants to go there.
Yeah,
I was thinking
and
about like we can take some hints from the Big Blue project that he
yeah, yeah.
had on
Which
Kickstarter, which and you bring up a good point. That was supposed to be like a 2.5D game. I would say that that's an interesting take, but that was also a long time ago. That was like, I don't know, like 12, 13 years ago, probably 2013, 2014. I can't remember. So maybe he could go with the 3D game. I would personally love a 3D take on Echo.
yeah, Sam.
I think Echo controlled beautifully and perfectly in Defender of the Future. I would love to see like an updated like control scheme, like control Echo a little bit better with like the dual analog sticks and inverted controls as well, like as we use them
Yeah,
today. But other than that, I think story. I'm not really concerned about the story, to be honest. I think if you're a fan of the first two games, you'll probably be
yeah.
happy with whatever Ed comes up with.
Probably. I mean,
Probably,
we have a secret about Echo the Dolphin. It was totally unexpected. I mean, give me Echo the Dolphin. I don't care about the West Time fight.
yeah.
It's just a little thing I am wondering.
Hmm.
Are we finally going to be able to do the famous space where we get at the end of Echo Tidus of Time in the third game, or will they ditch the idea?
Okay, that's a good point.
That's
That's
it will be probably interesting to see.
yeah. How will there be like a continuity between the series?
It's
Probably,
been
I would probably say so. Yeah,
yeah.
because Ed seems like he like really cares about the story in this universe. So I would say probably. And as a way of like moving away from Defender of the Future as its own thing and not his game, not his project. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, like you said, give us Echo. That's what we
Yeah,
want, right?
definitely. We have been waiting for so much time.
Yeah, let's hope we get some news soon about that. We'll get news about the remakes in early 2026. So
Yeah, there's a countdown of the official website, so probably we can already hear some
that's
tracks,
true.
remastered track already very
Yes.
nicely, and maybe we will unveil more little hints in the near future. But yeah, we still have some time to figure out, so
Yeah.
we can
So yeah,
dream and speculate. Yeah,
just go to echothedolphin.com and just listen to part of the soundtrack. And there's the countdown, which actually we can't really see here because we are covering. I probably am covering the countdown. Can I move it like this? There we go. So the countdown on the bottom left of the screen is counting down to when we have more news or probably an announcement of sorts regarding this game. Yeah. Okay, Ben, thank you very much for joining me. It was really nice to talk to you about Echo the Dolphin in general, but Defender of the Future in
thank you.
particular.
It was very nice to actually remember Echo of a Dolphin, share some personal takes, share some personal experience, and hopefully convince people to give it a try. If you like Echo of a Dolphin, also, just very quickly, there are many games that actually can have a lot of echo vibe. First take, probably the best take you can take is Subnautica. Probably the best title you can have about a game which looks like Echo of a Dolphin. You've got the undermarine part, you've got the different biomes which we will remind you of several parts of the game. The extraterrestrial, it's really nice. The alien. Sorry, you've got Soma from Fictional Games. Also, if you loved like me like me, the man's nightmare path, play some of our fictional games, because besides being an amazing game, extremely amazing game from an extremely amazing studio, it has huge man's nightmare vibes. You can also find Abzu about submarine exploration. Aquaria, a game from 2K7, which has some classic Echo vibes. And of course, if you want to take a more violent take on Echo the Dolphin, you've got this. Jaws,
No,
Unleashed.
just okay.
So just to so sorry, yeah, Les Dents de la Mer. It's a French title, literally the teeth of from the sea. So
Teeth of the Sea. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So it's made by Apollo Software actually, and they probably, I think they took some actually Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future assets to create Joe. So yet less aliens, more chomping, but still having the underwater but just more body. So just to say that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for the recommendations. Well done. Yeah. I wanted to just also briefly mention something that we didn't have time to go fully into. But take a look at our YouTube channel for some of our 30 seconds of Sega Education videos that will maybe share some cheats. But there's a very cool Easter egg. I mean, very cool. It's interesting. You have dolphin football or dolphin soccer
Yeah.
in Echo Defender of the Future, by the way. So it's a very, very simplistic game, but it's a nice like bonus level that you can unlock in the game, playing, I believe, against a member of the clan, right?
A member of a clan in a very nightmare environment stadium.
Yeah. It's a really cool thing that to add like a cool little bonus
And
thing.
there are two bonus levels inspired from the Sega classic level, which are Passage from Genesis and Pathway from Nowhere.
That's true.
Up to both, which can be unlocked in the up and down levels. I will let you figure out how to do that.
Yes. Maybe something to share in one of our 30 seconds of Sega Education.
Of course.
The videos. I don't know. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel to see if we share that someday or not. That said, Ben, thank you very much for joining me. Where can people find you online?
So you can find us online on mostly Facebook. We have Facebook Caverns of Hope page. You can find us on the X Caverns of Hope page, and of course the main place is the Discord server. So at some time we had a new website in the plans. Life unfortunately went through, so we made, for now, let's say it's put on hiatus because there's also the legal part regarding the files. So yeah, but don't worry, if you miss the old Caverns of Hope server, we all have everything on the Discord server. So Facebook, X, and Discord, just type Caverns of Hope, just like the lover's name, and you will find us, and you are all welcome to join. We since already Clayman and since I've taken over, we have made very clear to create a place for every singer of the world, a safe place, inclusive for everybody, anyone. And you are all welcome to come in a very chill and nice place where we have fans of Echo, talking about Echo and sharing a lot of things, arts, video, gameplay, hacks, and of course, we had a ton of fun, including enhanced version of the PC port of Echo the Dolphin, which I still have here. It was actually very first PC game I bought was Echo the Dolphin on PC. Sorry for the box; it
Let
suffered a
me
lot from.
mirror that.
Yep.
There we
That
go.
the Sega PC brand at the time,
Yeah.
during the half of the 90s, there was also Sonic Knuckles and Sonic City, and Echo the Dolphin was actually the very first PC game I ever bought.
Excellent.
So yeah, and so today you couldn't play it on modern system, but with the PC enhanced version of Echo the Dolphin for this, you can actually play it on modern system. So if
I
you want
remember
to
that.
get it, just join the server, and I will give you the membership, and you can download and enjoy Echo the Dolphin on PC totally free. You are all
Excellent.
welcome to come.
Excellent. Very good. So do check that out. We'll leave links in the show notes as per usual. As for the Sega Lounge, we'll be back next week as per usual. Remember, go play Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future. Go try it. I know it's a hard game. I know it's a long game as well, but try to stick with it, especially after it does pick up a lot after the first chapter. So do check it out, and stay tuned for more of the Sega Lounge. Next week we'll start our special Shinobi celebration with a Shinobi retrospective, and coming after that, an interview with Lizard Cube regarding Shinobi Art of Vengeance. So do come back for that. Shinobi content coming up. But just follow us on socials like Blue Sky and X and all of that, and just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching or listening. It was a blast. Ben, thank you very much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, and thanks again. Merci beaucoup.
You're welcome. N'a pas de quoi, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah? Yes? Okay. Yes. Did it. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.